What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to show you a method to pretty much be fully AFKing all of the God Wars Dungeon 1 bosses with very low level necromancy gear, no perks, no invention, no overloads, no potions, nothing really like that. So if you guys have started a Group Ironman, this is probably going to be a great starting point for most bossing in Group Ironman because you need to be killing God Wars Dungeon 1 for a variety of reasons, whether it's, getting components from Armadil or Krill, or getting your subjugation to upgrade your necromancy gear. There's just a lot of reasons you probably are going to want to fight in God Wars Dungeon 1, and I think this video is going to help out a lot of the groups out there. Alright guys, so to start off here, I'm just going to do a simple little gearing section here. So you can see the gear that I'm using is tier 60 Death Warden with tier 70 weapons. Everything else here is pretty unimportant, but the reason that I'm using level 60 armor, I assume most people are going to be able to get level 70 armor, but the reason I'm using level 60 armor is just to downgrade a little bit because my account has 99 defense as well as high necromancy. So my offense and defense are going to be higher than most lower level or newer accounts. So I just used level 60 armor to offset that. Definitely be using level 70 if you're running into problems. You should be able to get that fairly easily. The task for it is just do a few rituals, so you don't have to do anything crazy. But also, make sure you're getting level 70 weapons at least, because that's going to help you out quite a bit. As for the ring, definitely use a Ring of Vigor. You're probably not going to have the passive version of this, so the Ring of Vigor is going to be really good for you to save 10% when you use Death Skulls, just so you can be rebuilding some adrenaline. For your necklaces, the Demon Horn necklace is going to be good for every single boss that isn't Krill. So if you're only going to be fighting Krill, you might want to swap out to a Conjurer's Raising amulet if you can get one of these. This amulet is really good for Krill because you can't use prayer at Krill. If you guys don't know how this boss works, basically if you're using prayer, you get hit like 4,000s, which isn't sustainable. So you use no prayers at all and the Conjurer's Raising amulet to, I guess, boost your damage and healing a little bit. It does seem pretty helpful to be using this, but I don't think it's required by any means. You could use any cape you want. You could use any scripture you want. We don't, activate the scripture. So if you are wondering, you can just get a Underworld Grimoire here, and you can see it has like a little bit of stat bonuses, and it's free. So you might as well use this just for the free damage. And then for the auras, Vampirism is pretty decent, but I think the Equilibrium aura here is actually a little bit better. Equilibrium will boost your healing as well as your DPS by a little bit. So this is probably worth using over Vampirism, but yeah, it's pretty good to be using either one of those, I find. For your Familiar, if you're running into problems with your HP draining a little too fast, you can use something like a Bunyip Familiar, and that gives you a little bit of free healing, which is going to help you out quite a bit. But yeah, this is the gear that I'm using. Again, use level 60 Death Warden, or level 70 Death Warden, if you can get it, because it's going to help you out quite a bit. For the bosses that aren't Krill and you're using a Demon Horn, obviously you're going to want to have a Bone Crusher here. This is going to help you out a lot, just to be, crushing all the bones instantly and then getting infinite prayer points. And then some other things that are going to be pretty helpful are, I'm not sure where it is in here, but if you can get this Imp Soul Box thing or the Infernal Soul Box and get the Wilderness Refresh one where your adrenaline isn't going to drain outside combat, this will help you out a lot as well, just so you're not draining down to 0% adrenaline after every kill, so you can be upkeeping your damage as much as possible. So maybe be trying to get this. It's, I think, pretty easy to get on a lower level account. You just have to go into the dungeon, pick it up, and do a few quests, so it's really not too bad. So definitely be getting those things. Some other things that are going to be pretty important, I think, are going to be getting the High Alchemy spell. Just bring the High Alch spell with you. Most people probably aren't going to have a Spring Cleaner to be auto disassembling or elking the rune drops. So if you elk those on your own, you'll be making a little bit of extra cash for your group, which is going to be pretty nice. And then finally here, if we go to the ritual site, there are a couple of unlocks you're going to want to get from the skill tree. So those unlocks are going to be basically unlocking the skeleton and ghost ability, obviously. So you're going to want to get these two here for the skeleton ability, these two here for the ghost and the ghost ability. And then the only other things you're really going to need to get are going to be these Spirit Pact 1 and 2, maybe 3 if you have level 80, I guess. But Spirit Pact 1 and 2 to increase the duration of your conjures is going to help you out. Because you don't have Conjure All at these levels, you might as well use these because, you know, sitting there reconjuring all the time is going to lose you a lot of damage and waste a bunch of ectoplasm. So extending your conjures is going to be pretty nice, just to be saving ectoplasm and increasing your DPS output. So definitely be getting those. Everything else on here is pretty unimportant. You know, just get what you have to, but make sure you're getting those, like 6 unlocks, because they're really, really good for this and pretty much mandatory to make it work out consistently. But yeah, everything other than that is pretty much up to you. You know, use whatever cape you want. And yeah, pretty straightforward gearing setup. Very easy to use, very simple. And hopefully everybody can get this gear pretty easily. All right, guys, so you can see we're here in the Krill Sutzeroth room. As for the method, it's pretty straightforward. You can see if you do start a fight and you're not attacking Krill, just click on him. You do want to be attacking Krill. It doesn't really matter that much, I guess, at the end of the day, but you want to be getting more kills per hour and, you know, attacking Krill when he spawns if you auto-retaliate to the wrong guy or something is pretty important for that, I guess. And the other thing is you can see this little square I'm standing on here. There's this carpet, and then I'm in the square in the corner of the carpet here. This is where you want to be standing. Occasionally this guy in the corner will like walk away and then attack you, and he'll drag you off the square. But for the most part, you pretty much just stand on the square and you can auto retaliate to Krill most of the time, and you never really move. And then the, I guess, final thing is, you can see here, this place does drop quite a bit of food. So if you do notice your HP does start to dip at the end of a kill, just pick up some of the food and eat it, I guess. And that will pretty much make your HP fully sustainable. Other than that, it is pretty much fully AFK besides looting. You just sit here and AFK. It doesn't get the fastest kills in the world. You can see we are getting like 35-second or so kills here. As low as like 30-second, as high as like maybe 40-second kills. Depending if you attack Krill immediately or not. So yeah, the kill times are pretty decent, and you can see the action bar. It's been on screen here for a while now. Pretty straightforward action bar. I would highly suggest upgrading your skeleton and ghost abilities as much as you can through the little skill tree thing, and you know, unlocking sacrifice if you can seems to be pretty good as a filler, and that heals you as well. So that's pretty decent. And then I guess finally, like I showed here, I don't think I showed my inventory, but we do have an enhanced Excalibur. You don't actually need the enhanced version. We're not really after the healing bit of this, but when we use the Excalibur, it does boost your defense level. So we'll bring this up here. You can see it did boost my defense level to 112 here. And this is pretty important. Boosting your defense level when you're low defense like this for free is really nice. And you only need the normal Excalibur. So you just have to do the Merlin's Crystal quest for that. And yeah, it's really good because it does seem to provide a fair amount of extra tanking when your defense level is boosted. And you know, maybe that's a product of the level 60 gear instead of the level 70 gear. So, you know, maybe it's not that important, but it did seem to make a bit of a difference where whenever I'd use the Excalibur, I'd pretty much be able to fully sustain my life points pretty much indefinitely because of the defense level boost. But without it, I guess I'd drain HP occasionally or whatever. So yeah, definitely keep that in mind. It does seem to be pretty good. So hopefully you guys use this method to be getting your Krill kills, upgrading your necromancy armor, and getting some subjugation pieces for you know, components and stuff like that, and magic armor. Because I think Krill is probably the most difficult boss to fight in the God Wars Dungeon 1, and it's the most beneficial to fight, especially for an Iron Man. So yeah, hopefully this part of the video helps you guys out, and now we will be going into the other bosses. Alright guys, so now we're going to be on to Kree'arra. Kree'arra is kind of annoying to kill. It moves you around like this, as you can see, and it's kind of tedious to do this. As far as the gear is concerned, it's basically the exact same gear, except we use a demon horn necklace. You're probably going to want the bone crusher as well, just to be getting infinite prayer. We do pray range here. You can also use damage boosting prayers as well. So I'm just going to put, you know, sap, necromancy, strength, and attack on here, just because we can. I guess we probably don't need the attack one. We already have 100% on these guys, but yeah, just gonna put our damage boosting prayer on as well here. But yeah, as far as Kree'arra is concerned, it is fairly annoying because it does move you around. What I found works the best with necromancy is to sit into the corner here, and you just go over here in this corner whenever you see yourself move or whatever, and just hope it doesn't move you. You can stand in the doorway here in this little like cubby, but from what I've noticed, when you stand in that little corner, what ends up happening is it'll drag you out because your necromancy attack distance isn't far enough to actually attack Kree. So, you know, that can be kind of annoying. And then what also ends up happening when you're in this corner is Kree'arra will walk up to you and end up moving your character, which is also pretty annoying. It does happen sometimes. You'll probably see it happen here. But yeah, as for the method, it's pretty much the exact same. We use the same exact action bar, and we just kind of sit here and revo it down. The kills are somewhat slow, probably somewhere around like 35 to 40 seconds or so. As you can see, you do have to move back in the corner. You don't have to do this. I mean, you can just let your character like move around the arena, I guess. Again, it's not really that important, but yeah, this does work for Kree'arra as well. And as you can see, the kill times, they're decent. They're not the fastest kills in the world, and you know, you do get pretty good GP here whenever you get the items and alkables and stuff. So yeah, it's a pretty good method for your Ironman to be doing as well, because you're gonna need Kree'arra armor probably for low-level range gear, and it does give you Armadyl components, which are really good as well. So yeah, as you can see, this kill here came out to about 32 seconds or so. So it's not the slowest, it's not the fastest, but it is a pretty good method, I think, for like low-level Ironmen to be doing. And you do get to be using your prayers here, which is pretty nice. So I would highly suggest, you know, using the Demon Horn Necklace and Bone Crusher, like I said, just to be getting infinite prayer points. And yeah, other than that, this method is pretty good as well. It seems pretty safe and reliable. Like the other method, if you do see your HP starting to dip, just pick up some food on the floor and eat it. As you can see here, you don't even have to move your character back into position. It is nice to do that so you're not getting like launched around the arena. But either way, your character should eventually just make it back into the corner by being pushed there anyway. So, you know, you should be pretty solid as long as you're just targeting Kree'arra right off the bat. And yeah, hopefully you guys use this method to be getting some of your Armadyl components, to be getting precise perks. And it does seem to be pretty solid overall. Alright guys, so now we are on to Sarah. Sarah and Bandos are pretty much the same. For Sarah, you just pray magic or melee. It doesn't really matter. I think magic might be a little bit better because of the minion, but there's also a melee minion, so I don't know. It's pretty unimportant what you pray, but yeah, just pray magic and then your necromancy strength curse or prayer that you have. And then yeah, that's just about it. And then you enter in. And for Saradomin, we do use the Bone Crusher and Demon Horn Necklace, so you should be able to get infinite prayer points. I just like to stand, you know, somewhere in the middle of the room here, and you should be good to pretty much just stand around. Sarah, you might take a little bit of extra damage here because you do take quite a bit of melee and magic damage from the boss. So you do have to pick up the food and eat occasionally, probably, but for the most part, you can see it's pretty straightforward what we do here. Much like all the other methods. I mean, the Reva bar is the exact same. So we're just going to show like one kill here or something. And yeah, it works out pretty decently. You do hit pretty hard at Sarah. And the drops aren't very good. I mean, there's nothing really worth getting at Saradomin, unfortunately. But yeah, I guess you could get like an Armadyl crossbow or something and disassemble that. But yeah, as you can see, it's a pretty easy method. The kills aren't super fast. That one was, what was that, 38-second kill? And we do have the strength prayer on. But yeah, as you can see, you just kind of sit in here and kill them this way. One tip I can give you guys for this method is if you're ever struggling with your HP and you do have the summoning level to use a Bunyip, you can just use a Bunyip Familiar. It's actually pretty solid at giving you extra HP. It's passive, you don't have to do anything, and you can kind of just sit there and, you know, obviously just heal for free with the Bunyip. That's a nice little tip if you are struggling a little bit with your HP. You don't have to use a legendary pet. The legendary pet is obviously, there's like a lot of drops on the floor, so you're going to be area looting anyway. So you're probably better off just using like a Bunyip or something if you want. I mean, you don't have to. A lot of people might not have the summoning level yet if they just started a fresh Ironman, but you do have to have somewhat high stats to do God Wars Dungeon 1. Like you have to have like 70, what is it, prayer or something to get in here, I think. Or is it agility? I think you have to have 70 or 75 agility to get into Saradomin. So it is a fairly high requirement to get into Sarah. I feel like a lot of people probably won't do this, but as you can see, your HP does dip a little bit, but there's like a ton of pies and like monkfish and stuff that do spawn on the floor. So yeah, this is how you do Sarah, very easy method. And now we're gonna move on to bandos. All right, so finally we're gonna be doing bandos. Much like Sarah, bandos is very easy. You just put on your strength boosting prayer as well as pray melee, and then you just enter the room here. Bandos, again, like Sarah, it doesn't really have a lot of useful drops, which is kind of unfortunate that there's only like 2 God Wars dungeon bosses that are worth doing. But I guess for the most part, that might make it easier for your Reaper tasks. Like if you don't train strength or agility to the level like 75 or whatever, level 70 that you need to enter, you might just be better off not training those while you're doing God Wars for Reaper tasks, because you can kind of just sit here and get, you know, Sarah, or not Sarah, you can get Krill and Armadil, which are the only ones you're probably going to want to be fighting. I guess it's a little nice tip, but bandos is extremely easy. If you pray melee here, you don't really take a lot of damage, as you can see. And the kills are pretty quick. I mean, bandos doesn't have a lot of HP. That one was only 25 seconds. And you do get infinite prayer points here with the org bones and stuff that these guys drop. So as you can see, pretty easy method here. You know, not exactly the most useful drops, but it also does drop a ton of food as well. So at any point at the end of a kill or something, if you see your HP is kind of low, just eat the food that drops on the floor and you should be pretty good here. And yeah, as you can see, pretty quick kills, pretty easy kills, and the drops are kind of useless mostly, but yeah, it could be good for like a Reaper task, I suppose. But yeah, that is how you do all of these God Wars Dungeon 1 bosses with extremely low level necromancy gear. You can see I am using the level 60 armor just to offset the defense bonuses. I assume most people are going to have level 70 Death Warden and level 70 weapons for this method. But yeah, you can see bandos gives you pretty quick kills, those 25-second kills, which is fairly decent, I think, with level 70s. So hopefully these methods help you guys out with your Group Ironman, especially in the early game of it when you have lower level gear, no invention, no overloads, no potions really, and you should be able to get some decent marks of war and like Reaper points and stuff like that. So yeah, hopefully this video helps you guys. Thanks for watching, guys. If this video helped you out and got you some drops at God Wars Dungeon 1, definitely drop a like on it. It does help promote the channel quite a bit. And if you guys would like to see an extremely low effort method to be doing next to upgrade your necromancy gear, definitely leave that in the comment section below, because that is a video I could be making as well for the new Group Ironman mode. I think that would be something a lot of people might want to see. So yeah, if you guys want to see that, definitely leave it in the comments. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.